Day of the Tentacle came out in 1993 and somehow I haven't actually played it. Until now. Quite recently came out the remastered version, and since I've been meaning to play those old LucasArts adventures anyway, this seemed like a good occasion to finally dive in, especially since I got a key from the devs. Since I've never played the original, this video will cover both what I think about the game itself and what I think of the remaster, so here we go! Day of the Tentacle was originally released in 1993 and was a sequel to an earlier point-and-click adventure game, Maniac Mansion. It was developed and published by LucasArts back then and is in the hands of Double Fine as of current day. It was, just like its predecessor, a point-and-click adventure game created for the SCUMM engine, widely used by LucasArts in titles such as The Secret of Monkey Island, Loom, or Sam & Max Hit the Road. At its core, the remastered game is the same, but the animations and backgrounds were all redrawn for this version. Original voice audio has been cleaned up and is now in top-notch quality. It features re-recorded musical tracks and a much better control scheme. As a bonus, you can also enable developers' commentary, which I recommend listening to once you beat the game. And if you ever feel the new isn't the same, pressing F1 will instantly switch back to the original version so you can relive the nostalgia. Whichever version you're gonna be using, Day of the Tentacle is a fantastic point-and-click game. The adventure begins with a rather lengthy cutscene which introduces both our protagonists and antagonists. You play the game as three characters: Bernard Bernoulli, Laverne, and Hoagie, trying to stop the mutated purple tentacle who's trying to
take all the world.
Dr. Fred, previously an antagonist in Maniac Mansion, sends the three back in time, a day to be exact, through chronogens to stop the tentacle. And yes, those are in fact time-traveling toilets. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, time travel fails and sends Hoagie 200 years back in time and Laverne 200 years in the future, while Bernard is stuck in the present time with the crazy doc. It's now up to all three of you to get back in time and stop the purple tentacle. Bernard is your typical geeky nerdy kind of guy, Hoagie is a generally chilled out roadie, and then there's Laverne, who looks and sounds like she's either high all the time or she's completely disconnected from this reality.
Yoo-hoo, Mr. Tentacle Guy!
At first glance it seems like a simple point-and-click adventure game, with 3 separate chapters for each character, but what makes it different from the rest, and is a very unique twist, is the time travel. Using chronogens, you can pass items from one time to another and exchange them between characters. Multiple times across my playthrough I went, oh hey, I'm sure Hoagie or Bernard could use this item. It also often ended up as totally not the thing that the character needed, but that is the nature of point-and-click games. Sometimes it's just guessing that the two items go together. Unfortunately, at moments of doubt, this means that you have to go back and forth to the chronogen to keep exchanging items until you figure the puzzle out. It can be tedious and time-consuming. The puzzles in the game, however, aren't based on pure guessing and randomness, and there's always a subtle hint that tells you what could possibly work, and it usually makes sense. A bad point-and-click adventure would probably even make you scratch your head even if you had the walkthrough. Another mechanic, although a lot less used, is the fact that changing things in the past changes things in the future, so a few puzzles require thinking outside of the box, like changing the flag of the United States in the past so Laverne in the future can use it as a disguise. But where the game really shines is the absurd, cartoonish humor it sports, complemented by its art style, both inspired by Looney Tunes and Chuck Jones' work. I mean, it's very clear, especially since one gag involved repainting a black cat to look like a skunk.
This ought to be good.
Just like Penelope the Pussycat kept ending up with a white stripe along her back. The jokes and gags are cleverly written and quite funny. And there's also a little bit of fourth wall breaking, but it never felt forced in or out of place. A lot of humor comes out of the fact that most characters in the game are written as not the brightest. I mean, no one saw past Laverne's disguise.
Thank you, fellow Tentacle. Unlike humans, you have been very useful.
Oh, thank you. Believe me, it was my pleasure.
Now all I need is a human.
Yowza! That was one good-looking tentacle.
The art style of the game was created by Peter Chan, and if you finish the game you can unlock the art gallery and browse original drawings and sketches of the characters and backgrounds. The backgrounds for the most part have this comically bent perspective mixed in with bent walls, door frames and such. Everything pretty much is bent out of shape, almost abstract. And everyone has cartoonish proportions with big heads which allowed the characters to have more expressive faces. And it actually works pretty well for the game. Since all three characters land in the same place, just in different times, you'll be basically going around different versions of the mansion, each one with a different aesthetic to it, which is pretty neat. And technically speaking, the game runs flawlessly. The remaster gives you a much more comfortable control scheme, and it's even supposedly playable with a gamepad, although I have not tried that out. The only issue I encountered were one or two lines of audio that played faster than the subtitles, and I got greeted with an awkward silence.
Honestly, sir, I think they're filthy, obscene, foul, sickening, like the stuff in your eyes when you wake up, like the wax that builds up behind your suction cups after a few days. Like that's enough, son. I just wanted to be
All in all, remastered or not, I think the game still holds up after all these years. I've enjoyed my time spent with it, and since the jokes and gags are cartoonish comedy, it wasn't lost on me like referential humor. And the remastered version is a cherry on top that might sweeten the deal for people who always wanted to try the game out but were put off by outdated graphics. And if you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe for more? I do more retro reviews, I also do indie games and other things. If you want to be updated because I update infrequently, follow my Twitter. And I will see you in the next video. See ya!